Good morning. It is 6:30, and folks, in the last few minutes, we've had to shift into a code red for your steer clear traffic. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Jennifer Waddell. AJ Hilton will be back Monday. Right now, we are in that code red traffic alert. Want to get straight over to Traffic Jam Sam. She's going to help you steer clear around it.
Yeah, what a mess, Jen. Almost 6:31 now in your steer clear traffic. I-40 West. We had a tractor trailer, that jackknife, blocking all of 40 West just past Spence Lane before you get to the 40-24 split. My goodness, what a scene. Now, what you're looking at, you can see two tractor trailers here. The one in front is the one that jackknifed, but as I move out of the way, look close underneath this overpass. That is a bus that was behind the jackknife tractor trailer. Right now, traffic can get by, but I want to show you some pictures I'm getting in from Twitter. These are coming in from Andy, and he's saying crash on 40 West at the split, tractor trailer, bus, and a bus. Look at that bus right there. We can actually zoom in. Look at that. You can see that tractor trailer and then the front end damage from that bus. So I'm going to zoom back out for you and go through a few others. Look at that, a Gray Line, Tennessee. You can see it looks like maybe a truck crashed into the back of it, and maybe there was a truck in front of it. A little bit hard to tell from these pictures. Right, it does look like three, so you're right, Jen. So look here, here is one tractor trailer, here's that Gray Line Tennessee bus, and then that tractor trailer in front of the bus is the one that jackknifed. So the two tractor trailers are clear. Now it's the Gray Line bus that we are trying to figure out if anybody's on board on that, any passengers, if anyone's injured as well. That's what is still stuck in the middle of the roadway. So let's go back to our steer clear traffic map to give you that detour to get around it. You've got several options for 40 West. You can detour off at Briley North and take Elm Hill Pike or Lebanon Pike, or detour off at Briley South and take Murfreesboro Pike. Unfortunately, this is not the only issue we are following this morning. 24 West, it is terribly backed up from a crash. 24 West at Harding. They are making progress. It's now on the far right shoulder, but it is still very, very backed up. I'd say at least an hour getting in from Smyrna right now. I would avoid that backup. You can always use Nolensville Pike to get into town to avoid the backup and congestion on 24 West. Coming up, we're going to track those drive times for 40 and 24 and any updates we have on that bus crash coming up on Fox 17 News this morning.
All right, thanks so much, Sam. 6:33. I want to show you this video here, and you can listen to it as well. Yeah. Thanks. That is not applause. That is hail in Mammoth Cave, Kentucky. Just north of Nashville, about an hour from the storms last night that brought down the rains, the heavy rain, I should say, the wind, and even that hail. And even there are some roofs that are blown off. There's lightning that's caused damage and even fires out there. Thanks to our Fox 17 News viewer, Sherry Meredith, for sending that video in. We really appreciate getting all of your pictures in. Sam was just talking about how our viewers helping out with what's going on with the road. So anything you see out there, see it, send it at fox17.com. Speaking of seeing things, check out the bottom left corner of your screen there. The stage is set for tonight's big Titans uniform unveiling. This is so cool. I mean, I've never lived in a city where they do a big concert with Florida Georgia Line for free to unveil a uniform. That's pretty cool. So, 20th years for the Titans. So we'll see what happens. Again, that's going to be taking place tonight right there on Lower Broadway. Make sure that you bring a coat, maybe even some gloves too, because it's going to be chilly after that sun goes down this evening. So Skywatch 17 Doppler radar, all quiet right now. These are your current temperatures: upper 30s, Springfield and Gallatin, Mount Juliet, lower 40s in Nashville down through Franklin. Highs today only into the lower 50s. Some of you will not even get into the 50s for this afternoon. So definitely a warm cup of joe as you step out here on your coffee cast. That sun is now officially up. We'll take another look at your forecast coming up with another look at future track as well. That's coming up in just a few minutes, Jen.
As the saying goes, every 1,000-mile journey begins with the first step.
Today, the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. still resonate. It's been 50 years to the day that the civil rights icon was murdered in Memphis. But the Nashville reaction to his death sparked a week of civil unrest that is rarely talked about here in Music City. Fox 17 News' Justin McFarland is live downtown with a look at when Nashville had been full of tension. Justin.
Yeah, good morning, Jennifer. And you have to imagine it. 50 years ago, when the news of Dr. King's death reached to this community in North Nashville, violence broke out. Some of it right here at this intersection, DB Todd and Jefferson Street. People picked up rocks to throw them at cars. We talked to one man who says the National Guard was called in, 4,000 members to try and keep the peace.
It just felt trapped. What happened to my freedom? All of a sudden, I can't do what, and I'm not bothering anybody.
Retired Reverend Harry Allen is not talking about his time in a foreign country. He's talking about the streets of North Nashville, his home, in April of 1968, just hours after the death of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
It was just a sunken feeling. I may have even shed a tear too, I'm not sure.
While many were sad, hundreds were angry, and that anger turned to violence. These are pictures courtesy of the Nashville Public Library from the Nashville Banner Collection. According to the newspaper reports at the time, more than 200 people gathered at the corner of Jefferson Street and 18th Avenue, many of them throwing rocks at cars with white passengers inside, some of them firing guns. Several businesses were burned, looted, or damaged. 10 people went to the hospital with minor injuries, and the National Guard was called in to keep the peace. But the peacekeeping left others feeling like they were prisoners in their own home.
Your access was limited. Before that, go wherever you wanted to, whenever you wanted to. But then you had to be in by midnight. I think that was the curfew hour. It might have been 11. So you felt bottled up.
In the meantime, Dr. King's legacy continues to live on in this community as part of Charlotte Avenue, we now understand, will be named after Dr. King from 3rd Avenue all the way to I-40. By the way, that curfew was finally lifted after nearly a week. 1,000 people marched to City Hall to demand that the mayor lift the curfew. It was lifted a few hours after that. We're live this morning in North Nashville. Justin McFarland, Fox 17 News.
Justin, thank you. 6:37 right now, and a teenager gets trapped in his car during severe weather. This is part of that storm system as it moved through in Ohio, to be exact, and you can see an electric pole fell on his car right in the middle of the street. Now, he didn't get hurt, but it is a sticky situation. He waited for hours as rescuers worked to get him free. Now, it's important that he did the right thing here. He did not move. He stayed in his car. If he had gotten out, he very likely could have been electrocuted with live wires all around him. That decision saving his life.
Why did you stay inside the car?
Well, my dad's an electrician. I knew he's taught me a couple things about electricity. I knew that if I got out that car, there's a pretty high chance if I touched something, I wasn't going to end out too well, so.
There you go. An important life lesson you may not even be thinking about, but one you'll want to share with your kids. And thankfully, this guy's parents taught him that lesson and he listened. The teenager is one of 7 people who got trapped in cars in that area because of downed power lines. As we mentioned, the good news here, nobody got hurt. Right now, the parents of 2 teenagers killed after crashing into guardrails that are designed to protect people are now pushing to get those guardrails off of our roads nationwide. You've heard us talk about them for the last couple of years. They are called X-Lights, and more than 700 of them are still waiting to be removed from Tennessee roads. 150 of those are right here in the mid-state. TDOT says the contractor has until the end of June to get rid of them. A Maryland mom who just lost her son in a guardrail crash traveled to Nashville to join a Tennessee father who is asking state lawmakers to take this to the next level. They want to call on the U.S. Secretary of Transportation to remove all X-Light guardrails from every road in the nation.
This is a product that's reasonably certain to kill. Step up, get this product off your roadside, and save another family from sharing in this grief.
At least 4 people have died in Tennessee in crashes involving these X-Light guardrails, and they're blamed for a dozen deaths across the country.
Right now, it is almost 6:40 in your Steer Clear traffic. We are following 2 crashes, one on 24 West and Harding, the bigger picture you see in your screen. And then the smaller picture, bottom corner, that was an earlier jackknife tractor trailer. They cleared the truck, but behind it was a bus. Several vehicles involved in that one. That's 40 at 24 east side of town. We have your detours next in Steer Clear Traffic.
As some people say, it's the worst call they've ever seen in a hockey game. We're going to take another look at that Preds no goal that has so many people upset this morning.